have Simon with us. Simon is a guy who has absolutely got the techie stuff under his belt. He is a lover of all things Star Wars and Lego. He is great at current affairs, and apparently leaving a trail of cold coffee cups in his wake, but fortunately only his wife can see them at the moment. And I have been on the I have been listening to some of his very bad jokes in networking. So yes, we can, hopefully there won't be too many of those going on today. But he is a web developer, making sure that there are clear procedures in place, ensuring that everything happens as it should do, and in providing a first-class, high-performance, user-first websites and digital marketing strategy to boot. So Simon, over to you.
Hello, thank you very much. Wow. So I think the bad jokes I have to clarify are dad jokes, so it will be clean, so it's fine. So thanks very much for coming on and watching this. And this is where I envy social media people, because they're able to click onto Facebook, take some screenshots and show you how to physically work Facebook. But of course, you've all got different content management systems. So I can't go through necessarily how you are going to update your websites specifically, because it will vary depending on what systems you're using. But please put in the Q&A your website link and any questions that you've got, and I'll try my best to help you specifically on your systems if you've got any questions based around that. So what I'm going to do instead is go through a few slides, just kind of going over some of the myths, and put your head in that space where you're thinking about what you should be working on your website. And to do that, you need to understand where your website sits within your business. So as this illustrates, and I'm going to verbalize the negative here, your website is not a shop window. It's the most common myth that I hear people say, well, my website is my shop window. It's not. And if you think that it's your shop window, then you're not going to get any visitors to it, because a website does not have passing traffic to grab attention. So a shop window, the purpose of a shop window is to attract attention, be inviting, and compel people to come in. So you need to think of your social media, maybe your metadata and how it appears on Google, your email, your print, that's your shop window. You'll do a lot better in business if you think of your website as a showroom. So once you're inside a showroom, or a shop, it can be inside the shop itself, but I like to think of it as a showroom. You go into a showroom, you want to be provided with a lot of information. You want your problems answered, your concerns addressed. You give them reassurance. You know, you're given brochures, you're giving answers to make an informed decision on a sale. And might come back to Jess. Jess probably has the right statistics on this, but I have heard that something like 80% of people will make a decision on purchasing your products or services before even contacting you. So if you think of your website as a showroom, providing that information, helping them make a decision before they contact you, then you're going to win. So many websites are just lacking information for people to be able to make a decision, and therefore that you're not getting the conversion rate. So could go to the next slide. We've got the next slide. There we go. Thank you. So don't worry, I'm not going to read off this list, but I want you to think of your website as much, much more than just a marketing tool. It is so much more, and this addresses SEO, so search engine optimization, and that's how you appear on Google. And you have off-site and on-site SEO. So on-site SEO would be things like optimizing keywords, but off-site SEO is about driving people to your website from non-keyword related. I may have lost some people there, but hopefully what I'm trying to get across is to say there are many other ways to get people to your website other than going through Google. And this actually therefore helps your Google ranking, because they can therefore see that you're getting a lot of traffic to your website. So if you think of your website as a tool in your business, where you're providing all the documentation, support and guidance for everyone, not just customers, but your suppliers, your staff, your engineers, then you succeed. And the most successful websites that we have put together are tools used by the company. So a salesman will go out and always refer back to the website and say to their customers, well, if you go onto our website and check out our documentation, or if you want support, then go to our website and click here. And you'll realize that by doing that, by pointing everyone to your website for different reasons, that you'll also increase your visibility on SEO. And Jess has already picked up on this, so if we could go to the next slide. A really important thing in websites is making sure they're user first. So I'm going to verbalize the negative again here, and what I'm trying to get over is many people come to us and say, I want a good looking website. And you can forget that. People want their questions answered, their concerns addressed. You need to think about the user that's visiting your website, and they have a problem. They want to go and see or do something, and they don't really care about your logo necessarily. I'm being blunt there, but of course they care about your branding. It's very important. But what I'm trying to get across and say is that they are looking for an activity to attend. Therefore, they want to have fun, and they want to make sure it fits within their budget, and that they can go at the right time with the right people, and they can feel safe. So if you can create your customer avatar and really think about how they think, how they feel, what their concerns are, what their questions are, then you can tailor the content and therefore the journey on your website to address those and convert them into a customer. So really think about the user, put the user first. Don't put yourself first. So many times we'll finish a website and the first question is, can you make the logo bigger? It is not about you. The first thing that they should feel when they land on a website is, I'm in the right place. I'm going to get my answers, my questions answered. If we could go to the next slide. This is another common myth, really. You usually get people saying, I want to set up funnel pages or landing pages or squeeze pages. And really, every page of your website is a landing page. And what we mean by that is it's where somebody starts their journey within your website. And there's different reasons, and it can get very complex as to where they've come from social media, email. Where are they in their journey? Are they doing research, or are they ready to purchase? But the intention is the minute they land on your website, you take them through a clear journey to your call to action. Now, typically when we talk about landing pages, what people are suggesting is that you make a decision within that one page to your call to action. So you have the funnel or the squeeze page. But if all pages are treated with the same set of rules, then you will increase the success, because some journeys shouldn't end at your call to action. They may further the journey to another page, but generally you would always put your call to action. And for those that are not aware what call to action is, it's a call to action. it's where they end their journey. It's where they make a purchase. It's where they contact you via an email, etc. And so you want to lay out your page in a way that doesn't distract them from getting a solution to their problem. Often websites focus on putting nice graphics at the top, when actually if they have a problem like what is a website, they want to see a title that says a website is, and then an introduction that starts to explain what a website could be. It's not about the images, but the images can help to grab attention, and they can help to keep people on a page, and they lower bounce rates. So, I appreciate there's lots of different rules, but you want to land on a page and go, I'm in the right place. And then you want to take them through giving the information, building the desire to do business with you, and then going through to the call to action without all of the distractions. So if you have a website with lots of animated graphics sliding around everywhere, get rid of them. That's not why they're on your website. So yeah, just think about every page as a landing page. What's the journey they're taking on that page? Can you further that journey on other pages, or convert them on that page? And then I'm going to get a bit more technical here, so if we can go to the next slide. So websites, success on websites is all about speed. It's all of the stuff that really, I struggle to, I can bore people if I get into it. If you ever right click on a website and click on the section that says view source, that's the language that I speak in. It is magic to many people that don't understand it, but it's not to me. And I don't want to go through all of that because you'll just switch off. But you do need to understand whether your website is performing for you, whether your website designer has populated a template on WordPress, or whether have you built you something that is customized. So if you go to Google in Chrome, you need to have a Chrome browser and search Google Lighthouse extension. You can download a little widget that you can put in your browser, and you can perform a test on your website. And this is how Google analyzes your website. So it's a really useful tool. The scores, this is for our website. You can see, obviously, they're all up there in the close to the hundreds. Ironically, some of those, like best practice, we haven't got a top score because of a feature that Google have got. So it's quite funny, really. We can't reach 100 because of something that Google have put out. Anyway, the performance is the one that most websites fail on. And it is not about the speed that your website takes to load. Well, it is. 50% of it is about the speed that your website takes to load. And that's what most people focus on. So you hear people talk about compressing images and minifying them, but it's also about how your website performs on lower quality browsers, typically mobile phones. So things like animations will slow down the performance of your phone if it doesn't have the processing power. So performance isn't just about website speed, it's also how people interact within the page itself. And you need to get that as high as possible. And it's one of the easiest ways, particularly when you haven't got the keywords, to improve a website's ranking. Accessibility, just to quickly go over these. Accessibility, if you're visually impaired, if you're physically disabled, it's the way that people can work on a website. Again, this gets missed out so often, but if you hit that accessibility mark, Google will reward you. It's the right thing to do. Don't cram your keywords within alt text. They're there for people who cannot see the image and need it verbalized for them. Best practice is the geeky bit. The developer should be able to build a website using best security practices. If you ever look at the score on that, you'll be completely confused. You need a developer that understands it, that will give you a high enough score. And your SEO, as we all know, search engine optimization, how you climb up on Google, get that as high as possible, then you're going to win. And Google have something called AMP. And you'll see this on your mobile phone. You'll do a search, and next to some results, you'll see this little lightning symbol. It means that your website loads instantly. We only develop AMP websites now. It's that little badge of approval, and it's been a bit of a silver bullet to us. We've seen increasing conversion rates of 20% just by switching a website over to AMP. So look out for that one. And if you are looking to redevelop a website, then ask your developer to ensure that it is AMP enabled. And then finally, if we can go to the last slide. I just want to leave you with a bit of keyword research, and it's not rocket science. A lot of people overcomplicate it. They invest in expensive keyword research tools which actually aren't that helpful, I find, and they should be spending their time creating useful and helpful content. An hour's time of writing an article, as Robin will take you through, is better time spent than sifting through Google Analytics and trying to work out how your 10 visitors a day are interacting with your website. So use your time wisely. Go and get this book. They Ask, You Answer. It really makes you think about people who have questions and problems, and how you create content to answer them. And that then you can go onto Google, type in your keyword at the top, and you'll see a section called People Also Ask. And so if you type in their keywords, you'll see a list of questions. These are the most popular questions that people ask around keywords. So you can take those questions, put them in your article, and then you end up creating something of high enough value to be able to entice people to your website. It is as simple as that. Please don't overcomplicate it until you've got at least 100 visitors coming to your website a day. And that's everything for me. So hopefully you've got some bits to take away there. And if you've got any questions to say, put them in the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simon. So it is a bit of a black art when I look at how websites perform. When you go on a website, whether it's good or not, but actually why it's good is something that, I guess it is something that you take for granted, but it's a bit of a black art for the rest of us. I've got a couple of questions for you. What is a squeeze page? It's just come in.
Okay, that's an easy one. It's a funnel page. It's another terminology. People have stopped calling squeeze page since ClickFunnels came about, but it's funneling or squeezing people into one action, essentially.
Okay. Thank you. What is the best platform to use to develop a small business website? Or is that
No, that's a really good question. I like answering this one, actually, because it really depends on the business. Most people have heard of WordPress, and so they gravitate towards that. And it's not always as intuitive as people believe. We actually spend a lot of time supporting people with WordPress websites because there's lots of different flavors. But it's a good platform, and it's got a lot of support out there. So it really depends what your business is, what you're selling. Like, my rule is avoid companies that sell based on appearance only. I'm going to mention the names here. I'm talking Wix, Weebly, Squarespace. You've seen the adverts. They come up and make something look visually appealing. Their websites are actually quite slow. They don't perform particularly well, but they sell to you based on something looking fancy. And the websites that succeed, I only have to point to Amazon or Wikipedia, are not that visually attractive, and quite often, well, they're not visually attractive at all. They provide information, or they provide products. Even if you go to the Apple website, quite a lot of people say we want a sexy website like Apple. It's not as sexy as you think it is. There aren't as many animations as you think there are. It is all about answering people's questions. So provide the right platform that helps you do that, speak to developers and get that right. But yeah, so just avoid companies that sell based on appearance, because they're selling to you. You want a platform that sells to your customer, because that's what we're interested in. Quite often we'll finish a website and people will start talking about their own. I think that it would be nice if the text was center aligned because it looks nice. Well, forget about you. I'm not building this website for you. Sure, you're paying the money, but I'm building it for your customer, and they want to be able to get the answers to their questions.
Okay, and we've had a few people saying, yes, we agree with that. So thank you for that. Just a question about the last slide. Gets the book point, but could you just go over the last point about people also ask?
Oh, just go over that one. Yes. So the people also ask section within Google. So you can do any search. I've seen it appear for pretty much most things, unless you're asking for something about Trump, is you'll see, because Google wants to keep you on Google. So they want to ensure that whatever your question is, if you've worded it incorrectly, that they're going to find you the solution. So they'll reword what you've searched for in the most common questions asked. So the great thing about people also ask is these are common questions asked. So if you want to get yourself into the mindset of what your customer is asking, then you can go there. And probably to extend a bit further on that is, because you have to put your user first, the acronyms that you would use to describe what you do is not what your user will be searching for. So if I said I'm a full stack senior developer, you're not going to be searching for that. You're going to be searching for website creator or builder. It was quite funny. We spent a lot of time trying to get to number one for catching website design or developer, and realized that everyone was actually searching for build a website or website builder. So you really have to think about what people are asking, what terminology people are using to find your services. And people also ask is a free tool on Google. You just do the search and then you'll see other keywords, other phrases that people use. And it's so useful. So I hope that helps with that one.
And I think this is a technical question, but do you get your website to AMP by just improving the 4 areas you mentioned? It's more than that,
unfortunately,
isn't it?
Not. Yeah, no, unfortunately not. That it's the other way around. If you have an AMP website, you will get very high scores in those 4 areas. So an AMP is quite technical. It is something you will have to go to your developer. It's something you may have to redevelop your website, something to consider. It's not for everyone. If you've got a basic brochure website, then it's on WordPress, then you can install a plugin, and you can 9 times out of 10 get that working quite well. It is technical, but something you have to remember now is the internet is full of millions of websites, and to rank at number 1 for something, or position 0, there's a whole another webinar. To rank at the top of Google now, you have to be better than so many other people. So it's highly competitive, and what AMP is Google's way of saying, let's improve the internet. It's not going to be for everybody, but if you do get that, it's just an easier way to get to the top, or not to the top, but increase your chances. So unfortunately not, no, you do have to look at AMP separately.
Thank you. And I think you've answered it with your Google Lighthouse extension, where you're talking about somebody asked, how do you know if your website is working? And that is the best way of doing it, is it?
Yeah, it depends on what's meant by working, because yeah, technically, that what the Lighthouse one, and I probably should have made clear, is the technical look at a website, how it technically performs. Is the code right? Images and resources optimized? That kind of thing. It's a good way. I mean, obviously, when you buy a website, you have no idea whether that company are technically minded or whether they're graphic designers that have learned how to drag and drop in a template. And because it's magic, and I can't explain to people what code does, what it.
Yeah.
All I can do is point them to a tool like this and say, look, if you get high scores on this, then they know what they're doing. If you analyze their website and they've got very low scores on this, then the chances are they don't really know what they're doing. They're not developers. That's not a negative, because it might be that they do a very good visual design and they create good content, because it's not all about the performance, but it's just a good indicator.
Okay. Great. Okay. I think we're covering Google Analytics a little later, aren't we? So,
Yeah.
but I guess if your website's not providing any customers, then you've got to think again.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think I get this all too often. People spend hours, days analyzing their website when they could have better spent that time creating content that would drive people. And then when you've got enough traffic to your website, you can start to analyze. By all means, install Google Analytics. It's a free tool. It gives you a lot of information. It's complicated, but it's extensive. So install it, but don't it's like the whole, social media. Turn your notifications off. Focus on providing valuable content, and keep periodically coming back to it. But don't focus too much on the figures just yet. For most businesses, just focus on putting out good, valuable content. Use your time wisely, and then start looking at the analytics.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you, Simon.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.